nagbabago ang panahon, iisa at nakatatak ang kauna-unahang himpilan sa paghahatid ng serbisyo publiko at balita. Ito ang Radio Mindanao Networks, higit 6 na dekada sa paglilingkod sa masang Pilipino. Sa Metro Manila, ito ang DZXL 558 Radyo Trabaho, ang inyong gabay sa hanap buhay.
Oras sa buong kapuluan, 2:59 in the afternoon. Ngayon po'y araw ng Biyernes, August 20, 2021.
Handa ka na bang alamin ang kalagayan ng ating inang kalikasan? Pakinggan ang isang oras na makabuluhang talakayan tungkol sa ating kalikasan at ang mga usaping maiuugnay sa pagbabago ng klima. Alamin ang mga napapanahong solusyon sa pangangalaga sa ating inang kalikasan, ang mga pagbabago na mga nakagawian at pagkilos para maangkupan ang nagbabagong panahon. Ang mga ito iyong mapapakinggan dito sa Ang Tinig Klima. Halina't pakinggan ang Tinig Klima tuwing Biyernes ng hapon, alas 3 hanggang alas 4 ng hapon dito sa DZXL 558. Nagbabago ang panahon, panahon na para magbago.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat mga kasama. Muli na naman po syempre nagbabalik ang ating makabuluhang talakayan tungkol po naman sa mga isyu ng kalikasan at pabago-bagong klima tuwing Biyernes ng hapon. Ako po ang inyong kasama mula sa DZXL 558, Jenny Pahilanga, at ngayong hapon ng Biyernes, kasama po natin mula naman po sa Department of Environment and Natural Resources, ang Supervising Environmental Management Specialist ng DENR Climate Change Service, si Miss Susan Ruth Nisperos-Nool. Magandang hapon, Miss Susan.
Malikasang hapon din, Jenny, at mga kasama natin na patuloy na nakikinig sa ating programa. Ako po ang inyong kasama mula sa DENR, Susan Ruth Nisperos-Nool, na pansamantalang hahalili kay Director Ellen Basu. Para po sa mga kasama natin na ngayon pa lang mapapakinggan ang ating programa, ang Tinig Klima po ay isang programa na may layunin na bigyang linaw at ipaliwanag ang mga isyu na may kinalaman sa kalikasan at pabago-bagong klima. Ang ating pong programa ay nagbibigay diin sa pangangailangan ng attitude at culture change upang maiwasan ang tuluyang pagkasira ng ating kapaligiran at upang matugunan ang mga epekto na dulot ng pabago-bago nating klima. Ika nga ng ating pong kampanya, Climate Change Needs Behavior Change.
Nako, Miss Susan, hindi ko makita ang iyong kagandahan. Oo. Ayan.
Ano, Ma'am Jenny?
Oo.
Kasi mahina po signal dito. Nasa Baguio po ako.
Ay!
Ang hirap. Opo.
Sana all. Nasa
Opo.
Baguio. Anyway, sige Miss Susan, hindi ko makita ang kagandahan mo. But anyway, magandang tinig mo na lamang, ha? Kaya naman po lalong nagiging kaabang-abang ang bawat episode natin dahil sa mga napapanong usapin tungkol po naman sa ating kapaligiran na ating tinatalakay tuwing Biyernes ng hapon. Noong nakaraang episode, Miss Susan, Ma'am Susan, ay tinalakay po natin namin po ni Director Ellen yung traditional knowledge and climate change at pinag-usapan natin yung mga katutubong kaalaman, kultura at yung kanila pong mga pamamaraan ng pamamahala sa likas na yaman. Tinalakay din natin ang programa kasama po yung mga katutubo at kung paano nila sila po ay nakikiangkop sa patuloy na pagbabago ng klima sa ating kapaligiran. Ngayong hapon naman po ng Biyernes na ito, panibagong paksamuli ang ating tatalakayin na may kinalaman sa pabago-bagong panahon na may pamagat na mga kwentong klima, likasan, tungo sa katatagan ang ikalawang bahagi. Ma'am Susan.
Tama ka riyan, Jenny. Mga kasama noong nakaraang buwan ng Hulyo ay una nating tinalakay ang tungkol sa mga kwentong klima-likasan tungkol sa katatagan. It was a national search at naging panauhin natin ang ilan sa mga nagwagi na sina Miss Ana Din Mansinares, first placer mula sa bayan ng Botolan, Zambales, at si Ms. Naila Cordero ng Kalayaan Organic Practitioners Association mula sa Laguna na nakamit naman ng Special Citation Award para sa Gender Empowerment. Ngayong hapon, Ms. Jenny, muli nating aalamin ang mga mahalagang kontribusyon at pagkukusa ng mga kababaihan at kalalakihan bilang mga tagapagdesisyon, tagapangalaga, eksperto at tagapagturo tungkol sa kapaligiran, pabago-bagong klima, disaster risk reduction, at youth empowerment. Paano nila tinutugunan ang mga epekto ng pabago-bagong klima sa kanilang mga komunidad? At saka paano nila ine-empower ang kanilang mga komunidad at kapwa kabataan upang gumawa ng mga aksyong makakabuti sa ating kapaligiran at klima.
Tama po yan. Yes po, Miss Susan. Lahat po ng yan ay ating sasagutin kasama ang ating mga panauhin ngayong hapon mula sa iba't ibang rehiyon ng ating bansa. Pero bago tayo magtungo dyan, Miss Susan, Ma'am Susan, ay sa ating talakayan, pakinggan po muna naman natin ang ating balitang klima nga po mula kay Miss Susan.
Balitang Klima.
Mga kasama, kinagagalak namin ibahagi ng ating paksa sa hapong ito ay tinampok po sa 56th episode ng Stories for a Better Normal, Pandemic and Climate Change Pathways. Isang online na talakayan na may pamagat na panalo sa klima-likasan. Ito ay inorganisa sa pagtutulungan ng Office of Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda, ang Climate Change Commission at ang Department of Education, kung saan ang tampok na paksa ay tungkol sa gender-responsive climate programs ng mga LGUs. Naging panauhin si DNR Undersecretary Annalisa Rebeltate at 3 sa mga nagwagi sa mga kwentong klima-likasan na national search. Ang nabanggit na online na talakayan ay pinangunahan ni Antique Representative Lauren Legarda at co-host nitong si Attorney Ipat Luna. Ayon kay DNR Undersecretary at Chairperson ng National Gender and Development Focal Point System, Attorney Annalisa Te, maliban sa pagtataguyod ng gender empowerment, itinataguyod din ng kagawaran ang mga good stories, kaya nailunsad ang Kwentong Klima-likasan at ang pagnanais na sa pamamagitan ng mga kwentong ito ay magbigay pag-asa sa lahat. Ipinapakita nito na kahit tayo ay nakakaranas ng mga kalamidad, dulot ng pagbabago ng klima, sa sama-samang pagkilos ay mapapaigting natin ang pangangalaga sa ating kalikasan. Pinuri ni Congressman Legarda ang mga programa at pagsisikap ng mga nagwaging lokal na pamahalaan at hinimok niya ang marami pang lungsod at bayan na tularan sila at gumawa rin ng mga programa na may kaugnayan sa pangangalaga ng kapaligiran, ng pabago-bagong klima at disaster risk reduction sa kanilang mga komunidad. Ma'am Jenny.
Yes po, Miss Susan. Maraming salamat sa ating balitang klima ngayong hapon. At magtungo naman po tayo para naman po sa ating
Tinig Klima, talakayan.
Miss Susan, sino-sino nga po bang ating mga panauhin sa hapong ito?
Yes, Miss Jenny. Mapalad tayo dahil makakasama po natin ngayon ang nagwagi ng second prize sa ginanap na search ng Kwentong Klima-likasan Tungo sa Katatagan, a Climate and Disaster Resiliency Recognition Awards mula sa City Environment and Natural Resources Office ng Zamboanga City, si Assistant City Enro, Dr. Eduardo Bisquera Jr., isang makakalikasang hapon po, and congratulations po, Dr. Bisquera.
Salamat po. Maraming salamat sa lahat, lalo na for having us down south, lalo na sa ating host na si Jenny at Susan, at sa mga nakikinig sa radyo DZXL na tagapagtaguyod ng programa sa hapong nito ng Ikalawang Bahagi, mga Kwentong Klima-likasan Tungo sa Katatagan. Ang pamahalang lokal ng Zamboanga City ay labis na pinarangalan ng maging iyong advokasya ng malinis at berdeng kapaligiran sa pamagitan ng DNR Gender and Development Office na nakipagtulungan sa Climate Change Service Office. Ipagpatuloy po ninyo ito. Alam namin ito ay it has a larger reach in terms sa radio at sa social media dahil meron itong mga malaking naabot sa tuntunin ng mga tagapagkinig. Salamat po.
Marami pong salamat, Dr. Vizquera, sa appreciation. Aside from si Dr. Vizquera, Miss Jenny, makakasama rin natin ang nagogi ng Special Citation Award para sa Youth Empowerment mula sa Pagadian City, Zamboanga del Sur, si Mr. Carvel Acabel. Isang makakalikasang hapon, Mr. Arcabel, and congratulations. Narinig kita kahapon doon sa program ni Congressman Legarda. And congratulations again.
Maraming salamat po. Isang makakalikasang hapon po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Carvela Cabal mula sa Kalambuan Youth Organization at magandang hapon po sa lahat ng nakikinig ngayon sa DZXL, sa DNR Climate Change Service.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Vizquera and Carvel. Anyway, mga kasama ko, meron kayong katanungan na maaari ko kayong tumawag sa 88822376. Sasagutin po ng ating mga panauhin mamaya. At Miss Susan, ayan, para po sa ating talakayan.
At tulad ng nabanggit natin kanina, Miss Jenny, inilunsad ng DNR Gender and Development Office at saka ang Climate Change Service noong Marso ang mga Kwentong Klima-likasan tungo sa Katatagan, a Climate and Disaster Resiliency Recognition Awards. Ito ay bilang pagkilala sa mahalagang kontribusyon ng ating mga kababaihan, kalalakihan at mga grupo sa pagtugon sa climate change at sa pangangalaga ng ating kalikasan. Ang search na ito ay sumusuporta sa Global Good Stories Movement. Ang Global Good Stories Movement naman ay isang kilusan na may paniniwala na mababago natin ang kwento ng mundo sa pamamagitan ng pagbabago ng storyline. Na upang simulan natin ang ating talakayan, maaari po ba kayong magbahagi sa ating mga guests ng konting background tungkol sa inyong mga probinsya? Tsaka paano po naapektuhan ng climate change at ang mga sakuna ang iyong komunidad? Siguro, Ma'am Jenny, unahin natin si Dr. Vizquera.
Salamat. Ang Zamboanga City po is a highly urbanized city situated in the southwesternmost section of the Zamboanga Peninsula. Ang ibig pong sabihin nito na to the left or to the right, on the east and the western side of the peninsula of Zamboanga City ay tubig po. It has a total coastal length of 396 kilometers. Mahaba po. It has more than 50 rivers and creeks and has a total waterfront of 1,396 kilometers at may 33 islands and islets. In terms of area, the largest po ang city of Zamboanga. Generally po, it's steep, while there are some narrow strip, flat lands along the east coast. Pero lalo na po sa mga urban centers. While the city falls under the third type of climate, where there are no pronounced maximum rain periods with short dry season, outside po kami ng typhoon belt. Yun po noon, mga 80s and 90s, we are not at risk of any mga storm surge. But lately, compared to other areas in Luzon and the Visayas, Zamboanga City has low susceptibility to tropical cyclones, both for passage and for landfall. However, there are indirect effects such as rains and high winds are experienced in the city when tropical cyclone pass near the area, pero hindi po parati. However, it was observed lately that there are projected changes in temperature and rainfall, which imply increasing frequency and magnitude of climate-induced hazards. That is why we have to prepare for flooding, tropical cyclone and storm surges, yung dry season, yung El Nino at sea level rise. Yung pong 1940 until early 2016, the city has hit by the El Nino event, yung drought. However, if we compare the drought in 2016 to year 1997 to 1998, itong El Nino-induced drought, very weak siya. But it was reported that of the total 25 irrigation dams in the city, 9 had dried up. 6 were in critical conditions and 10 were below the normal water level. Based naman sa partial crop and fishery damages in 2015, the damages due to dry spell and bushfires were already it runs about 132 million, with over 8,924 hectares of land planted with rice, corn, assorted vegetables, banana, rubber, cassava, and coconut were affected. Out of 8,000 plus, 1,389 had no chance of being recovered. It has affected 95% of the banana plantation in Zamboanga City, while the water utility, the Zamboanga City Water District, reported that the water level has reached its critical level. What does it mean when it reached the critical level? This resulted to water and power shortages, which prompted the concerned utilities and the Agriculture Department to conduct a cloud seeding operations. Ito po ang kondisyon ng Zamboanga City lately. We experience already this mga storm surges, flood at saka drought.
Nakakalungkot pala, sir. Magmula pa noong 1990s, the city or the area, your province has already been experiencing yung mga impacts ng climate change saka effect. Okay. It's good to hear po yung mga information na ganyan para at least malalaman po ng mga ng buong sambayanan what is happening in Zamboanga. Now, makinig naman tayo kay Carvel. Ano naman ang may kwento mo, Sir Carvel, tungkol sa inyong area sa province?
Again, isang makakalikasang hapon po sa ating lahat. So, I'm from Pagadian City. It's the capital city of Zamboanga del Sur. It's still also located in Region 9. And topographically, the city is what can be considered as a mixed relief because it has a steeply sloping terrain, especially in the northwestern portion where the steep hills and mountains cover an estimated area of about 15,000 hectares. That's why po sa amin, yung pangunahing transportasyon sa amin, tinatawag na tricycle, ay nakaharap po siya sa taas because of our steeply sloping terrain po na talagang bumabiyahe from flats hanggang sa mga kabundukan. And in our city, we don't really experience a lot of flooding, and also we don't experience a lot of flooding kasi nga yung aming land is paterren siya, pabundok. But facing our city is Iliana Bay, and we have already experienced a very strong earthquake and tsunami before. It's in the year 1976. Kaya nga ang mga tao, dahil nga sa nangyayari sa ating klima ngayon, they are very alert na naman na baka pwedeng mangyari soon, na pwede magkaroon ng another tsunami. Kaya yung mga coastal communities namin are very ready. They are really orienting the people how to evacuate if ever, and they're also helping in preserving our environment, especially in coastal communities. They are planting mangroves or really protecting and preserving our mangroves in the coastal communities. Ayan po.
Naka-impress naman yung mga preparations nyo, tsaka yung mga attitude nyo toward lahat ng manangyari sa inyong probinsya. Okay, Ma'am Jenny?
Yes, Ms. Susan. Ito, tanong ko din po kay Carvel tsaka kay Dr. Eduardo. Siguro si Doc uli, Ms. Susan. Ano pong naghikayat sa inyo, Dr. Eduardo or Dr. Dr. Bisquera, sa inyo po upang lumahok po dito sa tinatawag natin na katatapos na patimpalak? Tsaka naging madali po ba yung pag-organisa ng grupo upang kayo po ay makalahok? Dr. Bisquera? Hello, Doc? Ayan. Si Carvel. Ayan si Carvel. Hello, Carvel?
Hello po.
Sige. Ikaw muna siguro. Ayan. Madali ba?
Ayan.
Oo, madali ba?
Okay na po, signal ko. Okay na.
Okay. Sige. Si Dr. Bisquera muna, Carvel, for a moment. Doc, sige po. Go ahead po.
Okay, sorry. All is well sa lungsod ng Zamboanga City noon, no, na mga 80s to 90s. I was still with the Department of Environment. Dahil hindi kami karaniwang binibisita ng kalamidad na nanuugnay sa panahon. Oo, sa Mindanao kasama ang Zamboanga Peninsula ay merong issue sa kapayapaan at kaayusan. Ngunit sa gitna ng isyong ito ay naharap din tayo sa epekto ng pagbabago ng klima. Nangangulugan ito na ang lungsod ay kailangan maghanda para sa mga panganib sa hydrometeorological issue concern. Sa makatuwid, hinihimok kami nito na maiugnay ang aming mga programa tungkol sa pagbawas ng emisyon ng greenhouse gas sa pinakasimpleng paraan at ipakita ito sa kompetisyon na itinataguyod ng DENR Climate Change Service Office. Gayon din sa mga pagsaalang-alang na ang mga programang pangkapaligiran ay kasama ang mga kalalakihan at kababaihan, no gender bias sa mga programa. Ito rin ang aming pangako sa Sustainable Goal 13 sa pag-ayos sa klima. Nais naming iparating ang mensahe na gaano man kaliit ang aming kontribusyon ng pagbawas ng emisyon ng greenhouse gas. Ngunit pagsama-sama bilang local government unit at mga pamahalaang pambansa or national government, maaari kaming pagkagawa ng malaking kontribusyon sa pagtugon sa pandaigdigang issue tungkol sa pagbabago ng klima. Ang tanong na kung naging madali ang pag-organisa ng grupo upang kami ay makalahok at sa anong kategorya ang aming napanalunan. Ang mga dokumentasyon ng mga programa, proyekto at aktibidad ng lungsod tungkol sa mga pagkusa sa pagbawas ng emisyon ng greenhouse gas ay maingat na naisip dahil ito ay nagsama ng mga pangpakukunan at pagpapahalaga sa executive legislative agenda ng lungsod. Noong 2018 at 2019, lumahok kami bilang mga presenter sa Global Forum ng Urban Resilience and Adaptation in Bonn, Germany. Kasama ko ang City Administrator. In that forum, we were able to pick up ideas and concepts on nature-based solutions and engineering technological approaches on how to mitigate the impact of climate change in its local application. Ang panawagan para sa tampok na kwento at salaysay ng mga kalalakihan at kababaihan sa kanilang mga pamamayanan, we involved some members of the technical working group doing the inventory of greenhouse gas and formulating the management plan. Tinalakay tungkol sa nilalaman, ang content, visual and geographical reach of the initiatives as criteria for your judging. At ang categories na aming sinalihan ay eco-governance related to the impact of climate change. Bagaman madali sapagkat meron kaming mga nakaraang dokumento at datos, ngunit matrabaho, higit sa lahat sa visual appeal kung saan we involve the expertise on this aspect by the staff of the Information Office of the City Government of Zamboanga. Sa makatuwid, hindi lamang po iisang tao, nagkaroon po ng grupo para pag-isipan mabuti ano yung isasubmit namin sa Climate Change Office ng Department of Environment and Natural Resources.
Very well said, Doc. Si Carvel, ayan, Carvel naman, ikaw, madali ba? Ayan, mag-organisa ng grupo para sa paglahok nyo?
As for us po, hindi po naging problema ang grupo because we are very eager to really expand our horizon. We really want to other people and other communities to hear our stories, for them to be inspired, especially the youth, to do the same. And sa pagkolekta po ng mga data, it was easy because we have already copies of our activities, especially the documentation. So ang ginawa na lang po namin ay we really make it na parang 7 pages lang siya kasi nasa criterion or guidelines, dapat 7 pages ang maximum, dapat 5 pictures lang, kaya pinili talaga namin yung best. And we actually didn't expect na manalo because when DNR started posting in their Facebook page, ang raming mga LGU pala yung mga kasama naming sumali. So sabi namin, kahit we existed for more than a decade now, sabi namin na whatever may happen po, ang mahalaga na kapag bahagi po kami ng aming good practices, na-share po namin yung mga efforts ng aming mga kabataan. And we're very thankful that DNR Climate Change Service recognize our efforts.
Thank you. Alright, Miss Susan?
Nakakatuwang mapakinggan, Miss Jenny, na mga group efforts pala yung ginawa nilang paghahanda sa search. Okay. Ang City Environment and Natural Resource ng Zamboanga City ay tumanggap ng second prize sa naganap na recognition awards. Ang kanilang entry ay may pamagat na Greenhouse Gas Emission Reduction, Zamboanga City Initiatives for Climate Change Mitigation. Sir Bisquera, maaari niyo po bang ilahad sa amin kung ano-anong mga programa o proyekto ng inyong lungsod ang kasama sa inyong entry at alin dito po ang naging hamon sa inyo?
Let me first introduce itong greenhouse gas or GHG. Pag sinabi natin greenhouse gas, ito po ang most familiar with us is carbon dioxide. Pero meron pa pong iba tulad ng water vapor, methane, ozone, nitrous oxide, and fluorinated gases. These molecules in our atmosphere are called greenhouse gases. Why? Because they absorb heat. Thus, greenhouse gases trap heat within the surface. This is called the greenhouse gas effect. Ang mga programa po namin ay gusto namin we want the greenhouse gas emission reduction.
Excuse me lang po. Doc, excuse me lang po. Miss Susan? Hello, Miss Susan?
Yes, yung Ma'am Jenny.
Kanino po yung aso na kanina pahutahol ng tahol? Medyo nakaka-distract po.
Hindi po sa
Kanino po kaya yun?
Nasa office po ako.
Kanino kaya yun? Kasi Doc,
Nasa neighbor namin. Sandali lang po.
Kasi Doc, habang nagsalita ka, nagjujuwat kayo. Medyo po nakaka-distract po sa ating mga listeners. Sorry po sige po, ayan, medyo. Ikaw muna, siguro si Carvel muna. Miss Susan, habang inaayos ni Dr. Bisquera. Ayun, Miss Susan.
Yes, Carvel. Okay, please.
Ayan, in our organization po.
Yeah.
In our organization, we've been doing a lot of initiatives. Last 2015, we discovered and pioneered the activity called plugging in our community. It's a healthy, at the same time, very eco-friendly activity because this activity involves walking or jogging at the same time, picking trashes, non-biodegradable trashes on the street. Pumipili po kami ng mga locations na aming paggagawa ng plugging, either streets po siya or mga coastal communities po, yung mga malapit sa boulevard. And also, apart from plugging, we conduct child and youth development sessions. In these development sessions, we tackle different issues like child protection, youth empowerment, disaster preparedness and management, environmental conservation, and the sustainable development goals. And we really want to push for these sessions because this is very important. Education is very important, and we truly believe that with education, we can educate our children or youth of today to become empowered and environmentally aware adults in the future. Kasi ang maganda with development sessions, you get to share a lot of learnings from those youths. At the same time, yung mga youths na yon, binabahagi din nila sa ibang tao yung kanilang mga natutunan. Beautiful butterfly effect po yung nangyayari. And lastly, we conduct eco camps and tree planting activities. We gather together every summer for an environmental camp where we invite speakers and plant trees. So ito po yung mga ginagawa namin before the pandemic. But lately, because of the pandemic, it has become difficult. The mobility is very difficult. Kaya we think of something na talagang kaya namin gawin, makapag-reach pa rin ng mga kabataan despite the pandemic at makapag-share ng mga good practices for the environment. Kaya we initiated a radio program. It's a youth-led radio program called Bata, Ikaw ang Bida. So the youth volunteers, including myself in our organization, are heard live via on-air at the XBZ Radio Bagting Pagadian City monthly. And yung topics na dinidiscuss namin revolves around environmental conservation and protection. At the same time, yung mga issues that our youths are facing right now during the pandemic. And we are pushing for a wider scope right now. We are, our partnered barangays ng kasi sa organization is 9 lang sa aming city. Kaya we are looking forward to expand. Pinartner po namin yung LGU namin. We have the ugnayan sa barangay para po ma-partner namin yung ibang barangay na hindi kasama ng aming partner barangays. Ayun po.
Okay, ayan. Miss Susan, balikan natin si Dr. Eduardo. Doc, nandiyan na po.
Okay.
Ayan, sorry po, Doc. Opo.
Okay lang, no problem.
Opo. So yun po.
So ang aim talaga na,
Opo, go ahead po.
ang aim po namin ng city, ang mga programa namin is to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. Dahil ito po ay nagtatrap ng heat. Pag nagtrap ng heat siya, nagkakaroon ng global warming. Global warming, and probably may impact, may bearing siya sa climate change. So ang programa namin ay we want sa city government yung entity level. Pag sinabi natin entity level, we're just referring to the Zamboanga city government entity level, yung mga offices and its operations at saka mga facility. So sa behavioral change, we focus on the behavior. We want to institutionalize the practices of energy conservation on the use of electricity and fossil fuels, because electricity and fossil fuels, these are the potential sources of greenhouse gas within the government of Zamboanga City. So nagkaroon nagpulong ang 22 offices ng Zamboanga City with the representative at nag-set sila ng target individually. We cannot make yung target nila na parang lahat ganito, because the different offices under the city government may iba-ibang operations. So ano itong mga kanilang mga strategy to reduce the carbon, the GSG emission, the reduction of fossil fuels. Well, fossil fuels, we're referring to the use of yung kanilang vehicles which utilize gasoline and diesels. So sabi nila, why don't we have this paperless communication? Instead, mag-email na lang tayo from one office to the other. And then we'll have our vehicles and equipment regularly maintained. So regular, proper maintenance of vehicles and equipment. And then para i-schedule natin ang vehicle itinerary to ferry mga official document. And we will not use extensively of vehicles, especially official use only vehicles. And then we have to improve driving practices and awareness. And then we should have a regular monitoring of fuel consumption so that we could monitor the use of these fossil fuels. So ito yung mga strategies nila. On the reduction of the use of electricity naman, which is an offshoot of the energy, use of energy, sabi natin, there is an administrative order on cost reduction. We just simply have to make a strict implementation. And then why not consider the use of solar energy for government structures, and then limit the charging of our personal gadget. Yung dinadala yung cellphone sa office at doon tina-charge instead in the respective homes. And then minimize the use of electrical lights during lunch break, and then regular maintenance of office equipment, and the use of energy efficient appliances and equipment. These are the reduction strategies that they thought of. Very simple, and even it can be done at home. So what happened is that there was really a significant reduction of electricity. We did an inventory. Nag-inventory kami ng use of electricity yung 2015 as the baseline. About more or less in 2015 is about 8,000 total carbon dioxide emission. And then the following years, every quarter, nagsasubmit sila ng report on the use of electricity and the use of fossil fuels. So we did another inventory in 2016 after 1 year. We found out that there is a reduction on greenhouse gas from 8,000 to 7,000. Maliit lang po. But if everyone will be helping, all LGUs, even national government, ito po ay electricity lang at saka fossil fuels. What if we expand yung sa community level, yung greenhouse gas emission reduction, we involve other entities, we involve other sectors, which is ongoing right now. Like yung sector ng energy, sector ng agrikultura, industry, forestry, commercial establishment, yung mga settlement, yung mga housing units, solid waste services, which ang decomposition nito ay greenhouse gas, like methane, and then yung wastewater. Siguro naman po, mas malaki ang ating inventory on the reduction of the use of fossil fuels. In that way, we will be contributing to the country's commitment to the Paris Agreement on the reduction of the temperature to 1.5 degrees centigrade. And we are contributing to the world's minimization of greenhouse gas. In that way, we will no longer experience yung global warming. Yung change of behavior lang po. And then the use of low emission development through energy conservation program. So what we did is that we look into our street lights. We did an installation, replacement, rehabilitation of streetlight project with non-hazardous and eco-friendly LED bulbs. As compared to halogen, yung LED bulb po, pag ginamit natin, magkaroon po tayo ng malaking saving. The estimated reduction of power usage will be about 24% to 30%. Yung October 21, 2020, we were able to replace a total of 1,100 street lights. Na-replace po siya. So malaking tulong po ito in terms of reduction of power usage as much as 30%. And then yung waste to value project. With institutional challenges ito, because we are engaging the services of another party, a private party. This is an alternative energy technology for residual waste. It captures the gaseous state byproduct produced by the decomposition of waste to be utilized as source of energy such as methane and for other purposes. Ang ibig sabihin po, pag nag-decompose po ang organic matter, nagpo-produce po siya ng GHG, specifically yung methane. Ika-capture po yun, and then that could be a source of energy. At saka, may challenges po ito because we involve other parties, what I've said, through public-private partnerships, because they may provide value for money, at least in the short term. The ability to transfer risk to whichever of the public or private partners better able to manage the risk is a source of value for money. Private partners often involve private sector providing a bundle of services. So what are the challenges? Itong klaseng programa which we have not yet implemented because of some sa issue. Yung lack of comprehensive policy, legal, and institutional framework, lack of analysis capacity to assess the investment proposal, and inadequate enabling environment. And then, napakasimple po, tulad po sinabi ng aking kasama dito sa Pagadian, ay yung nature-based solution. Ano po ang nature-based solution? Ang ibig pong sabihin nito is just simply conserving, restoring, and improving land management action that increase carbon storage or avoid greenhouse gas emission. It's nothing but about tree growing or greening of our forests and at saka yung ating coast mangrove forests. So ang city po ay may programa ng upland deforestation and rehabilitation. To date, we were able to rehabilitate about 53 hectares of upland forest, and then as far as coastal and mangrove reforestation and rehabilitation, the DNR entrusted to us about 152 hectares of mangrove forest, which we continue to plant, and about 8 or 10 hectares is fully developed or fully planted. Very efficient po ang ating mga greens, ang ating mga plants. Why? Because yung carbon dioxide as a cause of anthropogenic activities, yung mga activities of men, yung carbon dioxide, ina-absorb po ng plant ang carbon dioxide, and then they emit oxygen. Yung carbon dioxide is necessary po for the production of sugar and to complex sugar in food ng plant. Plant hindi po mabubuhay pag walang pagkain. So through the process of photosynthesis, ina-absorb niya yung carbon dioxide. So nare-reduce in effect ang carbon dioxide sa atmosphere. So we have an engineering approach, we have a nature-based approach, and then we have a very simple behavioral change approach to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
Opo. Dr. Eduardo, ano po yung mahalagang contribution po at pagkukusa ng mga kababaihan po tsaka ng mga kalalakihan sa inyong probinsya? Pwede din po ba niyang sabihin sa amin o ilahad po yung ilan sa mga tungkulin ng inyong opisina, Doc? Dr. Eduardo.
Ang Environment and Natural Resources Office, this is a local government office. Para kaming the little DNR in the local government. This is our share with the national government, in particular with the devolved function in forestry, protected areas and wildlife management function, enforcement of solid waste management, including enforcement of air and water quality management, and geosciences, specifically on the aspect of conservation, protection, and proper use and sustainable development. Gender equality, sinasabi nila, is a right. Fulfilling this right is the best chance we have in meeting some of the most pressing challenges of our time, from economic crisis, a lack of health care, to climate change. Amidst the escalating conflict, violence against women is inevitable. There is no sustainable development if there is no gender equality. Ang mga mahalagang kontribusyon at pagkukusa ng mga kababaihan at kalalakihan sa mga programa na inilahad ko kanina, sa Zamboanga City, we empowered women. First, we have a lady city mayor serving her 3 terms in the office who leads and provides leadership on this environmental project. And lately, the first Philippine gold medalist in the recent Olympic game is a woman from this city who proved that she could carry the weights like any other man. The lady mayor provided a target of 100 trees to be planted during her terms. To date, we had overshot 140,000 seedling. This target of having planted, maintained, and sustained the protection of our watersheds and mangrove forests of more than 100 hectares under a co-management agreement with the Department of Environment and Natural Resources with the assistance of the barangays. And then yung 22 city government offices operations under the watch of men and women were able to reduce the total carbon dioxide emission from 8,000 in 2015 to baseline to 7,000 in 2016. And this is an ongoing process of inventory of each office target to reduce the use of fossil fuels and electricity consumption as source of GNG. On the larger scale, from the entity level, we want to involve the community level, as what I stated earlier, yung different sectors. We want to know the use and the target of GSG reduction. On energy conservation, wherein the general office is led by a lady architect, which installed, replaced, and rehabilitated street light with non-hazardous and eco-friendly LED. I mentioned this earlier. On the planning and design establishment of climate-resilient infrastructure that can adapt to climate condition. May mga school building kami na climate resilient. I will explain this later. Men and women engineers and architects had participated. The structural design can withstand weather condition. Yung mga bagong building dito sa Zamboanga, resulting from climate change, having a rain collector, higher elevation to prevent flood water from entering, wider yung hallways, and all rooms have breather ventilation space, tall steep roofs, high ceiling, and large windows for ventilation, easy to clean, granite floor tiles, durable steel doors, PWD friendly ramp, decent comfort rooms, and comfort rooms for differently abled. On the breeding program for upland and mangrove forest area, there is a gender balance in the procurement, planting, and maintenance of growing trees. So these are the contribution of the men and women in the different programs that we do have. It is inclusive. Nothing is being left out.
Nakaka-impress naman, Miss Jenny, yung kwento ni Dr. Vizquera. Miss Jenny, si Carvel naman ay nagkamit ng Special Citation Award para sa Youth Empowerment. Siya ay kasapi ng Kalambuan Youth Organization o KAYO sa Pagadian City. Ang kanilang organisasyon ay mahigit 1 dekada na nagtuturo at nag-empower sa mga kabataan ng Pagadian. Ang kanyang entry dun sa national search ng DNR ay may pamagat na KAYO. KAYO or KAYO? You explain mamaya ha, Carbel. Extraordinary Youth in Extraordinary Times. Mr. Carbel, maaari niyo po bang ibahagi kung paano po kayo nagsimula sa mga ganitong gawain? At saka ano po yung inyong inspirasyon o nag-udyok sa inyo upang makibahagi sa pangangalaga ng ating kalikasan?
And po maraming salamat. I started in the organization as early as 4 years old po. Kasi yung organization namin is not only limited to youths but also to children. And then my mother organization po kami called Child Fund Philippines. So yung partner po nila na local partner is yung Kalambuan Project, kung saan nanggaling yung organization namin. And I am a beneficiary of Child Fund Philippines. Yung mga members po namin ay mga beneficiaries. However, we are also not limiting the members of our organization sa mga members lang. Or I mean beneficiaries. May mga kapatid po ng beneficiaries or may mga nag-volunteer lang po from the community. And then, we started with issues lang na mag-tackle ng mga issues ng mga youths and children. But eventually, when the climate po become worse, nakita po namin yung importansya ng mga kabataan in doing small steps po para maprotektahan at ma-preserve yung ating environment. Kaya after noon, pag-think po kami na hala mas mabuti palang i-include natin yung environment sa ating mga advocacy. And doon, nag-start na po kaming gumawa ng mga activities like tree planting, our blogging activity po. We always educate our people, especially our children and youth, about gaano na po kalala ang ating climate ngayon and anong magagawa natin upang ma-lessen yung nafe-feel natin na init ngayon, and then para ma-lessen yung mga basura that is around us.
Okay. Sundan na lang natin, Carvel, then ano ba yung mga proyekto at programa ng inyong organisasyon? Tsaka paano, Carvel, na kakatulong sa bayan na kayo, sa bayan ng Pagadian, sa inyong komunidad? Paano?
We actually help lessen our garbage in the city. Iyon po yung malaking talaga ambag namin ng organization, because we do our plugging activity not only in one area but in many areas in our city. And it's just a small activity, but then kapag ginagawa namin siya monthly, talagang nakikita po namin yung changes, especially like sa boulevard area namin, sa coastal areas namin, ang raming basura before at ngayon na lessen na siya. Kaya nga na-recognize kami ng aming LGU, na-recognize din kami ng CNN sa plugging na activity namin, kasi it's really beneficial, na lesson talaga po yung basura. At the same time, nakatulong din po kami sa mga kabataan sa amin na instead of wasting their time playing in their gadgets or doing something not beneficial to them and in their community, na pagsama po namin yung mga kabataan sa amin na mag-join sa mga activities namin for the environment. And it's very amazing po, kasi every time na nakikita mo yung mga kabataan sa amin na talagang nag-e-enjoy sa paglinis, sa pag-collect ng mga basura, sa pag-educate ng mga bata kung paano pangalagaan ang kalikasan. Talagang it's very amazing. And yun po yung naging inspirasyon namin, na sana mag-widen pa yung scope ng aming organization, na makapag-reach po kami. At iyon po yung ginagawa namin ngayon. We are constantly joining mga events po or mga activities na hindi po hinold ng aming city, kundi ng region, kundi ng national level, katulad ng KLIMA-likasan po na sinalihan ko po last month, or sinalihan ng organization namin.
Jenny, may follow-up lang ako briefly kay Carvel, briefly, Carvel, how did you encourage the youth na sumali sa mga activities niyo at naging active na rin sa mga makakalikasang gawain? And aside from that, aside from the awards you've earned, meron pa ba kayong mga other awards na nakamit?
Yung mga awards po na nakukuha namin, most individual po siya, hindi gaano sa grupo, like yung mga leadership awards or youth awards. Pero it's our first time to actually get recognized and awarded as a group. And we are very thankful po sa DNR for giving us the opportunity na talagang manalo and also with a prize na makapagkanda kami ng activities because we are not also abunda or we are not very blessed po with the resources. Yung mga activities po namin talaga hindi po siya nag-require ng mga finances pero may mga dream activities po kami na hindi talaga namin na-achieve and because of you we were able to have it and also as part of my prize, my seedlings po kayo na binibigay kasi right now po during the pandemic, we are also distributing seeds sa mga parents po sa mga communities namin because we are encouraging them to do urban gardening or urban farming in their own homes.
Okay, thank you. Isang sentence lang, Carvel. How did you encourage the youth to join you?
Carvel?
We encourage our youths to join us by saying to them that in unity there is strength. Yun po yung palaging sinasabi namin na we cannot do it alone, but we can do it as a group. We can do it as one. As one, we can save our Mother Earth.
Wow,
Jenny?
galing. Siguro po, Miss Susan, bigay ko sa yung pagkakataon kung may mga iba ka pang tanong dahil tayo po ay 3:48 na in the afternoon. Go ahead lang, Miss Susan, at tuloy-tuloy tayo kung may mga tanong pa po kayong mahalaga. Sige po, nasa inyong pagkakataon.
Sige Ma'am Jenny. Tanungin man natin ang ating mga panauhin kung ano ba yung mga benefits sa inyo at sa komunidad ng pangangalaga ng kalikasan. Nakakatulong din po ba ito sa pang-araw-araw na pangangailangan ng pamilya? Siguro balikan natin ulit si Carvel, briefly, na Carvel.
Ayan, the best thing about our initiatives po is that we really have our people po informed about what is happening around us and also talagang alam na nila ano yung gagawin nila in times of disasters and they are very environmentally aware na ngayon and yun po yung pinakamagandang nabibigay ng aming mga initiatives sa kanila. Ang kanilang education, ang information na sila ay maging environmental aware din po.
Miss Jenny?
Ayan. Siguro tanong ko na lang sa kanila, no, Dr. Bisquera. Ito magandang tanong to eh. Yung behavior change, Miss Susan, diba? Yung sa
Yes, ma'am.
oo,
Sige
yung
po.
pinaka-last
Go ahead
nating tanong na kung saan yun po, yung behavior change po na, teka ha, Miss Susan, hinahanap ko yung tanong na yun para sa ating mga Dr. Ayan, Bisquera, hello po. Good afternoon ulit. Ayan.
Yes, hello po.
Ayun po. Yung tatanungin po natin doon, teka ha, nawala tuloy yung aking tanong, Miss Susan. Anyway, yung...
Kaya ko na wala akong mawala din.
Jenny, ako na lang po yung
Sige po.
magtatanong.
Yun,
Ano po,
behavior
Dr.
change.
Bisquera?
Mm-mm.
Ay, Ma'am Jenny, sige, go ahead.
Opo, ano po yung behavior change na maaari nating kampanya, ayan, Dr. Bisquera pala, Miss Susan, sa ating mga komunidad at tahanan para makatulong po na maibsan ang mga epektong maaring maranasan natin mula sa climate change COVID-19. Dr. Bisquera.
Doon po ang una, siguro alam nito ng taga-DNR, nahirapan kami to involve the community, even the youth, involving them. It's good that it was brought out by Mr. Carvel to join us, even sa simpleng coastal clean-up, magpupulot ng basura, nahirapan kami. Pero lately, we found out sila na yung pumupunta sa office, they offer their services, lalo na yung mga grupo tulad ni Carvel, yung mga non-governmental organization, people's organization. Hindi it's mandatory because they know for sure that there's really benefits that can be derived if we protect the environment. Nasabi pa nga, if protect the environment may be able to protect us. Not able, but they can really protect us. Like for example, production of food, nare-regulate niya yung control of climate and even diseases, supporting such as nutrient cycle and crop pollination, cultural, may attachment din tayo sa nature. Yung importante po dito, yung ecosystem services that the environment can provide us. Example po yung mga tinanim natin yung sa greening program. Ngayon po during pandemic, we encourage not only growing trees. Nagkaroon po kami ng challenge during the pandemic, yung 2019, 2020, during the tree planting, because we cannot gather people or group them together. So what we did is that yung community-based approach to planting. Ang ibig pong sabihin niya, a group of family, we invite them, and then they go to the office, and then they give them, we raise seedlings, by the way. Meron kaming 600 square meter nursery. So we give them seedlings ready to plant doon sa kanilang backyard. Ang sabi namin, pag wala kayong backyard, ang saan inyong taniman, you could coordinate with the barangay for a community site, yung forestry park where they could plant not only tree species, but also they could plant yung mga vegetable or fruit trees. And then the community will raise it together, gather it, and then they could have a pantry or a food even in their table, because it's very hard ngayon to acquire food at this time, especially of pandemic. And then the other option na ginawa namin, itong hiring of displaced workers, lalo na po sa protected area. Ang protected area po namin dito, ang yung nagbabantay ay nag-maintain ay doon sa malapit lang sa protected area. So yung water district namin na hindi na sila masuportahan financially, they were displaced. Around 50 of them were displaced. So what we did, we had to reprogram. So we hired them to plant trees. So they help us in planting mga indigenous species sa ating mga protected area. And then sa urban center naman, meron tayong mga creeks that are clogged. So what we did, we naglaan po kami ng pondo para declogging of the creeks. Kasi pag hindi yung na-declog, pag malakas ang ulan, magbaha po sa surrounding barangay. So what we did, nagpadaan kami ng pondo, and then we let the community workers, as recommended by the barangay captain, to recommend a certain number of people to do the work of cleaning the creeks and river. They declogged. So in a way, we were able to assist them financially for their necessity. At the same time, they also provided the services by doing community service or environmental services for the good of the community. They do the tree planting, and then they also declog our rivers and creeks.
Okay
Ito po. It's a matter of give and take. Mm-hmm. We provide, and then they also provide their services. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, they are benefited. They are given mga 500 per day. Mm-hmm. So if they are working 3 months, so malaking bagay na po yun sa kanilang pangailangan po araw-araw, lalo na po sa pandemya ngayon, na kailangan talaga ng trabaho. So kami po ang nag-absorb ang local government sa community.
Okay. Ayan.
Jenny, okay.
Go ahead po.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Vizquera. Miss Jenny, parang konti na lang.
Oo nga.
Natin,
Sige po, go ahead po.
Okay, siguro at this point, pasasalamatan na natin sina Dr. Vizquera and si Mr. Carbel for gracing our program today. Maraming salamat, sir. Maraming salamat, sir. Abangan po ninyong muli ang ating programa, but before
may announcement
Miss
announcement
Jenny,
ka. Opo, Miss Susan.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Before we end, Miss Jenny, inaanyayahan po natin ang ating tagapakinig na sumali sila sa photo contest na inilunsad ng DENR on DENR Forest Management Bureau para sa selebrasyon ng World Bamboo Day. Ito ay may temang alay sa bayan sa inang kalikasan, kawayan. Layunin ng contest na ito na ipakita ang kahalagahan at kagandahan ng kawayan. Another announcement, Miss Jenny, ay inaanyayahan din po namin yung mga youth na sumali din sa video competition. Ito ay tungkol sa Kwentong Karagatan. Ang pamagat ay Youth and the Oceans. Inilunsad naman ito ng Partnership in Environmental Management for the Seas of East Asia to generate the awareness, interest, and engagement of the youth in coastal and marine issues and actions. So, Carbel, pwede niyo uli itong pag-isipan, so you can join Doon na, Ma'am Jenny.
Okay
Tapos
po.
na ako.
Ayan. Maraming salamat po, Dr. Vizquera Jr. and Carvel. Thank you. Maraming salamat, Miss Susan. Salamat din po sa ating mga listeners sa hapong ito at sa ating episode. Ako naman po ang inyong kasama mula sa DZXL 558, Jenny Pahilanga. Miss Susan.
Yes, on behalf po of Undersecretary Annalisa Te at saka si Director Ellen Basog po, ako po si Susan Nool, Susan Ruth Nisperos-Nool sa DNR po na nagpapasalamat sa ating mga guests. And again, we are inviting everyone, the listeners, na abangan ninyo muli ang ating programa, ang Tinig Klima, sa susunod na Biyernes, alas 3 hanggang alas 4 ng hapon. Ako po ay nagpapaalam na sa ere at nagsasabing nagbabago ang panahon na para magbago.
Tulong-tulong tayo, tulong-tulong tayo.
Isa na namang oras ng makabuluhang talakayan tungkol sa ating inang kalikasan ang lumipas. Muli ninyong napakinggan ang mga napapanahong solusyon sa mga napapanahong usapin tungkol sa ating mundo. Abangan natin muli ang Tinig Klima tuwing Biyernes ng hapon, alas 3 hanggang alas 4 dito sa DZXL 558. Nagbabago ang panahon. Panahon na para magbago.
Panahon na nga para magbago. Tara, tulong tayo.
That time check was brought to you by ACS Manufacturing Corporation, ISO certified world-class quality.
Oras, 3:59 in the afternoon.
That time check was brought to you by ACS Manufacturing Corporation, ISO certified world-class quality. That news was brought to you by ACS Manufacturing Corporation, ISO certified world-class quality. That news was brought to you by ACS Manufacturing Corporation, ISO certified world-class quality.
DZXL News Break.
Magandang hapon mga kasama, narito ang mga balita sa oras na ito. Pasig LGU sinuspinde ang business permit ng 2 restaurant at isang gym dahil sa pagbubukas habang nasa ECQ ang lungsod. Detalye mula kay Axel Ranjuman 8, Mike Guyagoy.
Tatlo pong business establishment ang nasampulan ng Pasig LGU matapos na lumabag sa lituntunin sa ilalim ng Enhanced Community Quarantine. Sinuspindi ni Mayor Vico Soto ng 7 araw ang business permit ng SB Restaurant, Santa Lucia at ang F. Paris Mami sa Santa Lucia dahil naman sa pagtanggap ng mga dine-in sa kanilang mga parokyano. Gayun din ay suspendido ang KS Gym na sa may bahagi ng Manggahan matapos na hulihin ang 32 katao habang nasa Enhanced Community Quarantine ang lungsod. Kasunod na rin naman ito ng mga reklamo ng mga nagmamalasakit na tao may kaugnayan sa mga pasaway sa naturang lungsod. Kasama sa Pasig City, Wadiman 8, Mike Guyago sa RMN, DZXL 558.
Mga pulis naman sa Davao City tumulong sa pagtatayo ng daycare center. Detalye mula kay Axel Ranjuman 7, Rhea Mamogay.
Nagpasalamat ang mga residente ng Sitio Lopoy sa Turil District, Davao City sa mga police officers na tumulong para makapagpatayo ng mas matibay na daycare center sa kanilang lugar. Sa ulat na nakarating kay PNP Chief General Guillermo Eliazar, gawa lang sa kahoy ang dating daycare center sa lugar pero ngayon ay isa ng concrete building. Sa ngayon, komportable nang makakapag-aral ang 56 na preschoolers sa Sitio Lopoy. Nagtulong-tulong sa paggawa nito ang mga pulis sa Davao City, mga barangay officials ng barangay Tungkalan, mga magulang at iba pang mga stakeholders. Pinuri ni PNP Chief mga ginawa ng mga pulis kasabay ng pahayag na maaasahan ng mga pulis sa pagbibigay ng tulong na kailangan ng komunidad. Kasama mo sa Kampo Krame, Radyo Manchete, Rhea Mamogay, Tatak RMN, DZXL 558.
Dating DBM Yusek Lauk nakahanda pong dumalo sa ipapatawag na pagdinig ng Senado. Detalye mula kay Axel Ranjuman 4, Angel Ronquillo.
Handa nga makibahagi sa pagdinig ng Senado itong si dating Budget Undersecretary Lloyd Christopher Lau kaugnay sa kinagkastong paglilipat ng pondo ng DOH sa Procurement Service Office ng DBM sa kanyang pinangasiwaan noon. Sa laging handa public press briefing, sinabi ni Yusek Lau na responsibilidad niyang bigyan linaw ang kinagkastong procurement process maging ang kanilang overpriced na face shield at face mask at kawalan ng MOA sa pagitan ng DBM at ang DOH. Aniya, marami agad-agad nagduda at nagkaroon ng sariling palagay at sa usapin kahit hindi pa nila batid ang tunay na nangyayari. Ayon kay Lau, mainam na rin na makadalo siya sa pagdinig ng Senado, lalo't ito ang tamang venue upang mailatag at ipaliwanag ang kinukusyong pagbili ng mga face mask at ng face shield. Kasama mo sa Palasyo ng Malacanang, Radyoman 4, Angel Ranquillo, Tatak Arimen, DZXL 558.
Manatiling nakatutok sa aming Facebook page, RMN DZXL 558 Manila at i-like and subscribe ang aming YouTube channel, DZXL 558. Yan muna ating mga balita sa oras na ito. Kanyang radyoman, Jenny Pahilanga ng DZXL 558 Tatak RMN. Oras, 4:03 in the afternoon.
That time check was brought to you by ACS Manufacturing